Good morning, class. My name is Dr. Arepo. You can call me Dr. A if it's easier for you, and welcome to your course. I have sent you several emails regarding the course already, and some people have already explored the course. We start with the home page of your Canvas. I have put them in order. Number one, this is a welcome message. I hope you have watched it. In short, I'm welcoming you, and I'm very happy that you're here, and I wish you best of luck. You're all here to learn from one another, and that's what this takes us to the second one, the class philosophy, where it indicates this is a community, and therefore we are all here to help one another and with utmost respect. Number three is the announcements. You can click on the announcements right here or on the left navigation bar. And I'm going to put this in student view on the left navigation bar or right here in green. Either way makes no difference. It takes you to announcements. And I have the announcements here. You can always find the announcements here. They also will be, they have been emailed to you, and the new ones will also be emailed to you. So we had a recorded orientation, welcome and orientation, and a couple of emails welcoming you to the course, and that some students have already explored this. Number four has several parts, so let me quickly go over them. Syllabus modules that has the practice test or exam review, the PowerPoints, and you're supposed to do the practice test gradually on a daily basis, 1 or 2 per day. Homework, which is done in my OpenMath, it's absolutely free, and home set up such that you watch some video lectures and lesson assessments, and then start the course. The homework, practice test keys, discussion forum, exams. And this is the office hours class. You don't want to mix them up with the class sessions, which can be found right here under this Zoom meeting. Okay, we don't want to mix them up under this Zoom meeting right here. Right click on it, it gives you this Zoom meeting, and that's all you have to do. By the way, you just join here. Going back to the home page, let's start with the first one. It's the syllabus. You can click on it here, or again, you can find everything that you have here. You can find it on the left navigation bar, such as syllabus or module, discussion forum, so on and so forth. So if I click on the syllabus, I have a couple of things. I have the syllabus and the calendar. So let's quickly look at the calendar, which gives us the timeline as to when we have to do things, including the exams that takes place every few weeks. For example, the first one is on week 4, okay? And the first assignment has to be done pretty soon. I'll show you in, and the next thing is the syllabus. I start with the course name and the time, and then I have the topics here for you. Simply because if you want to go to a specific topic, you can do that. You don't have to read the whole thing, although it doesn't take long. So I'm going to take a couple of minutes going over the whole syllabus. So we have the material and course description. The text is by OpenStax, and it's free in the form of an ebook. You can find that when we go to MOM, where we do our assignments. I'm going to call it MOM for short, for My Open Math Short MOM. You'll find you can click on here to get to your text, or you can find it there. I'll show you in a moment. In the meantime, let's move on. Class calendar. Like I said, every few weeks we have the exam, and the exam takes place. Everything happens in My Open Math, and of course, the final, which you can find it in the final exam schedule. Meeting important days, calculators. You can use even a graphing calculator in general, but not for exams. When you take the exams, you can't. Tech support for MOM or My Open Math, as well as the campuses here. We have a tutoring center, and the grading policy is normally what matters to students. So we have 4 exams. Each one is 100 points, 400 points. Homework is 250 points, and it's done online, and you have multiple attempts, and there is no time limit. Therefore, as long as it's done before the due date, you can start the homework, go back to it anytime you want, finish it off, but it has to be done in a timely fashion. Biology calculus student success unit. This unit basically takes place on a different canvas, and that accounts for 5% of your course grade. It is an extremely wonderful, module that helps you not only with this course, but in general, how to navigate your educational system and how to be at top of your game. So I highly recommend you pay attention to that. And at the end of the semester, I receive your points, and whatever it is, the percentage, I will multiply by 50. For example, they may give you only 5 points. That's 100%. So that 100% times 50 or whatever, however many points. The final is comprehensive, 300 points. Although it's comprehensive, it's very simple because all you have to do master the previous exams. Your lowest grade before the final, that means among the first 4 exams, may be replaced by the final as long as you have a B or better, 80% or better on the final, and your homework grade is high, 95% or higher. And more importantly, this action results in a better letter grade. And again, the synopsis of that can be found in this table. There's no makeup policy. If you have a proper documentation, I accept it, but just be in touch with me and I do whatever I can for you. Course late work, basically everything has to be done in a proper manner because you do have time. It's not, it is not rigid. So you do have a timeline for everything. Therefore, there is really no course late work policy. There are some online homework you may use a late pass on. CSU will be 36. I find this very interesting because it says if you have 12 units, you're considered full-time, and that means you have to spend 36 hours to master your courses. In this case, we have a 3-unit course, and therefore we need to spend 9 hours to really do a good job. And that's on the average. In some cases, we may need to do a little bit more. There are other things like drop policy, disabilities, and so forth. And the next one, the CSULB commitment, basically everyone here is to help in every aspect. That's really the bottom line, okay? And I have the information for anyone who want to read that. Also the information about COVID and class safety. In our case, we meet online, so we are okay, but you want to pay attention to your other classes that you meet in person, basic needs, summary steps to success. You want to carefully study the lecture PowerPoints that we have, making up formula sheets for the theorems and so forth, and doing the examples, doing the homework, which is obviously done in MOM. Here's the office hours, and here's the link for office hours, which is basically 7:50, about 8 a.m. to 9. And you can find it here. Or right at the bottom of the homepage. Either way is fine, okay? So that's the office hours. And the holidays are here, and finally, instructor reserves the right to make modification to the syllabus. And so with that being the case, let's go back to the home page. And the next one is modules. Let's see what we find under the modules. So first and foremost, you find My Open Math, and it says specifically no need for course ID. All you have to click here. It'll ask you for the information, your information. You can register here. And we will come back to this when I want to show you the homework and how it's done. So we will go through that in a moment. Then you have exam 1 module, exam 2 module, exam 3 module, 4. Then we have some exam reviews for the final. All the paperwork that you need is here, and information for a calculator and their commands, for example, a TI calculator. So there's a lot of information here. For now, you want to be concerned with the first one, which we are going to do at the end, and exam 1 module. When we learn about exam 1 module, the rest of them will come nice and easy. So what do we find under that? The very first one is the exam 1 review with the key. I highly recommend you either print this or at the very least look at it and read it, give it about 5 to 10 minutes. Why is that? Because this basically gives you the synopsis of what's coming up for the first module or the first exam. You may not know a lot of this. It doesn't matter. By the time we finish going through the first module, you should have no problem with it. Now, what I highly recommend is that as soon as I finish a section, you go to this exam review and do this. I do have the key for you, but I didn't put the solution step by step. After we go through each section, you should have no problem finishing them off. So just maybe every day, all you have to do 1 or 2 questions. 1 or 2 questions, and you'll be fine. Otherwise, it piles up for the final, for the week of final, and you don't have time to finish it. So that's the first thing you find. The second thing, where it says exam 1, these are the PowerPoints. And we find them right here. So the way I've set them up, and again, exam reviews are also here. If I click on that, what do I get? I've set up my work such that when we lecture, you don't have to write definitions, proofs, even examples. So what do you have to write? Solutions to examples, step by step. I go over that, and you write the step-by-step solution. And this is what I mean. By the time we finish it, then when you go to your exam review, you should be able to do the one that pertains to the section easily. Again, you do have definitions the moment we hit the examples. You can do it on your own. Just follow the instruction that we have. So going back to the modules, the first one was the exam review. The second one was the set of PowerPoints. And the last one, the day before the exam, basically a couple of days before the exam when we meet, we are going to have an exam review step by step in the form of a PowerPoint is given to you. You don't have to write anything. Even the solution to the questions are given here. However, the way I conduct it is line by line. And when you watch the recording, I have the recordings, by the way, already, but we will go through them in class. Everything makes sense step by step, because right now you see the whole thing in one shot. So what happens, you really don't have to write anything, but if you pay attention, you learn a lot. And as I mentioned, under module 1, you can find the exam review with the key, you can find the PowerPoints, and then this is the PowerPoint for the exam review that we go through it to get ready for the actual exam. On the left navigation bar, you see this recorded lectures and exam reviews. If I click on it, And here's the new one. Here's the new one, everybody. If I click on it, it takes us to my YouTube channel. So here's the recordings for the sections we cover. And as we scroll down, when we are done with the sections that are covered by the first exam, then we have the exam one review. So not only we have the PowerPoints posted under the first module where it says exam one module, we also have the recording of that, again, step by step. So going back. The next one, by the way, you don't have to worry about it right now, but this one class is the recording of how to take the exam in MOM or my open math. You don't have to worry about it now. I will explain the concept before the exam. I highly recommend you do that and pay attention to that when the time comes. It's not the time for it, so let's move on. We go back to modules. So again, under the modules, we find various exam modules, exam 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we have final exam review, the graphing calculator. And at the top, this is where we do our homework. So I want to go back to the home page of Canvas. And where it says homework here, it will take you to module, by the way. Okay, that means do it here. So everything right here says my open math, access your online homework, no need for course ID, log into MOM. So I want to go back to home, and I'm going to leave it for the last when I'll show you how the homework thing works. So I want to continue on that thoughts. And the practice test keys, the discussion forum, again, you can click on right here or on the left navigation bar. If you click on discussions, what do you find there? Student bios, I put mine just as an example in case anybody is wondering, okay, what do I write? Just look at mine, see what I wrote, or if you have never done something like that, all you have to do, click on reply and put yours, okay? So reply to the end of this student bio here, not to the students when they do that. Come back up here and do the reply. And that's the student bio. So your fellow students get to know you. The next one is frequently asked questions. Before you send an email, before you ask any questions, I have asked the students what their question were in the past, and whatever they asked, I put up here. If a new question comes up, you can always let me know, and I will add to this. This really won't take long for you to read, a few minutes, but it may answer you. Also, as I've mentioned, we have the announcements here, class I, and more announcements are coming. For example, sometimes it happens that students ask, okay, the exam passwords, you can it'll be emailed to you and it'll be found under the announcements. Okay, when the time comes, it's not ready yet. And so, going back to the homepage, I'm going to leave the student view, and again, if you click on the modules, the first one, this one takes you to my open math. So I want to take you to my open math and show you what you find there. So the very first thing, it says mandatory assignment, introduction to my open math. And I'm going to start with that because what it does, it gets you familiar with how to do your work in MOM. And so just a very simple example. We want to enter this number. That's all they're asking us. So you can just enter the number. If you click on this blank rectangle here, it brings up math editor. So if I need to use a fraction bar, for example, or pi or radical, I can do that here. So all I'm going to do, just put the number they gave me, 55, because it says write it exactly, no rounding, 0.7553. So I put the number here. The next one says you want to round it to the nearest hundreds. So This is number 5. So because next to it is 5, it goes up. So 55.7. Next to it is 5, either remains or it goes up. And the reason it goes up because next to that 5 is 5. So it goes up to 6. The next one is that we want to divide by 0. As you know, we can't. Division by 0 is undefined. However, they don't have it here, so I'm going to put D and E, does not exist. So if I submit question, what happens? Well, it check marks. I haven't made a mistake. But let's say I made a mistake somewhere. All I have to do, get a similar question and take it from the top, and I get my points. That's what I mean. It's very easy to get 100% on your homework because all you have to do, answer it right. If not, get a similar question until you get this right. Now, here's the next one, rounding. Here's the next one, the answer box, what happens, and so on and so forth. Now, I'm not going to continue on that. What I want to show you is this. If I click done, notice it says question number 1. It's correct with the check mark. The rest of them, unattempted. So I have a choice. I can resume or I can exit. So something has come up, I can't finish it, I can exit. And what it does, it registers my grade, whatever I got on the first one. And then whenever I come back and finish the job, it adds to that. So it'll always be here until the due date. The due date for this is coming up. So I want this to be done immediately today, because otherwise students get behind. What happens next? I have the set of exams. You don't have to worry about this at all yet. But where do you find them? Right at the very top after the mandatory assignment. So when the time comes, you click on it. You can't start without putting the password. The password will be emailed to you and can be found under the announcements. Then we have the course description. And I truly believe math is beautiful. Now, here's the calendar. And I want you to notice that first thing first, this introduction to mom is due immediately. Then where we have the exam, and I've set up the exam, all of them can be taken on Saturday, and you have time, okay? Doesn't have to be at a specific time, just anytime, a few hours before its due time. And every homework is due before that, the day before. What does it mean? Does it mean that I have to do all of them on that Friday? Absolutely not. Because if you do that, you will never get to finish that. It's just that I didn't want to, have them do every week or so. So please, the moment we finish a section, that's the time you want to do your homework. Then what do we have? We have module 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I want to discuss module 0. Module 0 is nothing but resources. What type of resources? First, we have the text. If you click on this one or that one, so this one is the text, and it's a free text. If I click on view online, brings me the sections, okay? And if I click on this one, for example, it takes me, it's a different text, sequences and their notations. So there are the texts, various parts of the text. Everything is free by my OpenMath, and the texts are offered by OpenStax. Then we have these different calculators, everybody, that I have found online. For example, if you look at this scientific calculator by Desmos, it's free. The point being, I don't want you to pay a penny for anything, including the calculators. Then how to use a late pass, gradebook, how to review. This is important, how to review your assignments. It's explained here, okay? So after you go through exam, for example, 1, how do you review it? Then the free online calculators, Again, I'll put them here, and there are videos as to how to run it. So after that, notice what we get: chapter review, pre-calculus review. Please pay attention to this one. This is just a review, everybody. It won't be graded. It takes you to the text, it shows some videos, and it has a homework. Anyone having difficulty with calculus is because their prior knowledge of mathematics is not there. I highly recommend, it's only 4 sections. I highly recommend you go through them to refresh your memory. I can't emphasize this enough. So this, I'm going to close up module 0. So what is module 0? All resources. So what do you need? Let's just stick with module 1, and the rest of them you will be very comfortable with later on. So module 1 starts with this section. And if you click on, if you're interested to see where you can do your reading, it's right here. Okay, sequences and so forth. This is where you do the reading. Then whether you watch my recording when we go through the lecture or not, these recordings may be interesting for you to look at, everybody. I highly recommend you do that. Okay. You watch those recordings, and then you can do the first. This is the very first assignment, aside from the introduction. And if you click on it, it's the same thing. You start working on it. What I want you to notice is this. Many of these assignments, you see the video here, not only they have the questions, they have the videos next to it, not all of them. So in case you have to refresh your memory, and you put the answer, it says the first term is 1. Okay, so put it 1. The second one is 2, so put in 2. Now, it says a sub n is a sub n minus 1 plus a sub n minus 2, meaning add the 2. So this one, 1 and 2 is 3. So if you just, for example, right here, if I said submit questions, notice what happens. It says, okay, check mark, check mark, check mark. Everything is right. I haven't attempted the other 2. So what happens? I am not finished. If I click on done here, what happens? It shows that, I got 0.6 out of 1 simply because I didn't finish it, and then the rest of them are unattempted. What do? I resume or I exit. Now, it registers my grade, and anytime I resume, it adds. So let's quickly recap. Here's the home page of the course. Welcoming you to the course: class philosophy, announcements, syllabus, modules, discussion forum, office hours. So if you go to modules, this is where you go to my open mat, you do your homework. And for now, you want to be concerned with the first exam module, which has the practice test and its key, PowerPoints, and the reviews. So go back to the home page. And that's all there is to it. I wish you all best of luck and happy studying, everybody.